Good evening students. In this video we are going to discuss the treatments available for infertility. As you all know, in women, infertility is treated with many fertility drugs and hormones which help the woman to ovulate or restore the levels of hormone. Even the surgeries are available to remove the tissue that block the fertility or to remove the blocked fallopian tubes. So these things are all also available for the men too. So let us see what are the treatments available. So in treatment, there are some principles before starting the treatment. First, give assurance. The health personnel should give maximum knowledge about the investigations available, knowledge about the treatment modalities so that the couple will get rid of any kind of anxiety. Next, the body weight reduction, that is 20 to 24 BMI. If the couple is obese, even if it is woman or men, definitely they need to reduce the weight and it should come between 20 to 24, which is considered as a normal one. Next, avoid smoking and alcohol. If the person is addicted to anyone, smoking or alcohol, they should avoid that. Then evaluate the cause of problems. The health personnel should see whether the couple having any problems in doing the sex. So these are things we should find out before starting the treatment. First, we are going to see the treatments for males. And the first is indication. Extreme oligospermia means the person who has very decreased sperm count. Second one, low bolus ejaculate. During the ejaculation, their semen volume is very less. Then impotency. Impotency means the person is inability to get erect during the sexual act. So these are the indications in which usually we give the infertility treatment. Second is the general care. Under that, the medication interferes spermatogenesis should be avoided. We have already discussed which are the medications that can hinder the sperm production. That are beta blockers, sometimes antidepressants, some hypertensive drugs, and some drugs that are using for diabetes. So these drugs should be avoided so that there will be a good sperm production. Next, the disorders of spermatogenesis should be treated with hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism. You need to see whether the person is affected or having the hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism. Hypogonadism is a condition in which the male testes or the female ovaries produce little or no sex hormones. The male will not produce any sex hormones like testosterone, and the female will not produce or produce very less amount of estrogen. So that is a condition known as hypogonadism. And here, what is hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism? It means it is a form of hypogonadism. It is one type of hypogonadism that is due to the problem with pituitary gland or hypothalamus. So it is usually caused by the disorder of pituitary or hypothalamus. There will be less gonadotropin hormone, which finally leads to the hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism. So you need to see whether the person having this problem. If you detect this problem, then you can start the treatment. HCG is usually given, that is 5000 international units. IM once or twice in a week is enough for the treatment. This HCG helps in the production of testosterone. And if there is a good increase or if there is a normal testosterone level in the male body, definitely there will be a good spermatogenesis. So HCG is given at 5000 units. Then if sometimes in the treatment the doctors need to add the follicle stimulating hormones along with the HCG in the condition where there is no sperm in the ejaculate along with the HCG treatment. Usually the doctors are giving only HCG, and after giving that they are finding that in the ejaculation or in the semen there is no sperm, then they need to add the FHS along with the HCG. Okay, then the dopamine antagonists are giving to improve the libido so that the sexual pleasure will be increased. Potency and fertility can also be increased. Next is the pulsatile GnRH therapy in the infertile males with GnRH deficiency. So what is the GnRH? It is a gonadotropin releasing hormone. So this hormone is responsible for the release of follicle stimulating hormone, that is FSH, and the luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary. So if this hormone is deficient, we need to administer the hormone with a mini pump. So it has to maintain the normal LH levels with the adult male. So in case of the person who have deficient gonadotropin releasing hormone, this hormone we are giving through a mini pump, and that's why the LH level can maintain in the male person. Next condition is hypergonadotrophic hypogonadism. It is also known as primary hypogonadism, and it is a disorder of abnormal function of gonads with decreased testosterone in males and estradiols in females, which finally results in delayed sexual development. That is known as hypergonadotrophic hypogonadism. So there will be delayed sexual development. So in this case, there is no form of medical treatment which can improve the fertility rate, and the only treatment is donor sperm or adoption. Next, if there is any presence of anti-sperm antibody, if the male body having the antibody against the sperm, then the IUI is the only choice of treatment. IUI means intrauterine insemination is the method that we are using for the infertility. Okay. Next one is leukocytospermia. It means it is a condition that causes male infertility, and it is characterized by an abnormally high white blood cell count in the semen sample. In the semen, there will be a high number of white blood cells, and if the white blood cell count is increased in the semen, it can damage the sperm by destroying the genetic material. So that is known as leukocytospermia, and in this condition the person need a prolonged course of antibiotics, and usually erythromycin for 4 to 6 weeks are given. Next condition is the retrograde ejaculation. So it means the ejaculation occurs when semen enters the bladder instead of emerging through the penis during the orgasm. While during the erection, usually the semen will come through the penis, but here what happens? The semen enters the bladder instead of coming through the penis. Although you still reach the sexual climax, you might ejaculate very little or no semen. This is sometimes also known as dry orgasm. So in that condition, phenylephrine is used to improve the tone of internal urethral sphincter. Next condition is teratospermia and actinospermia. Teratospermia is also referred to as teratozoospermia, and it is a condition in which abnormal sperm morphology caused either defect in head, midpiece or tail. There may be some defect in the head, midpiece or tail of the sperm. So it is a disorder in which males produce an abnormal sperm which can affect the sperm's ability to fertilize the eggs. And asthenospermia, it is a medical term that is used for reduced sperm motility. That is, complete asthenospermia means 100% of immotile spermatozoa in the semen. So these conditions, the cause is usually unknown, and there is no treatment available if the person having any two of these disorders. And lastly, in case of genetic abnormality, the ART is the only mode of choice for the treatment. ART is assisted reproductive technology. In this slide, we are going to see the surgeries available. So first is obstruction of vasa deferens. We need to see if there is any obstruction, then surgeries are available to remove the obstruction. Next, surgery for varicocele. This all what is varicocele and everything we have explained in the previous classes. Next is the orchidoplasty, which is used for undescended testes. So it is a surgery to move an undescended testis into the scrotum and permanently fix it there. So it is the surgery used for the undescended testes. And next, for impotency, so usually in that psychosexual treatment we are giving to the patient, and one another mode of choice is the ART for this condition. Till now we discussed about the male treatment, and here we are starting to see what are the female treatments available for the infertility. And the first condition is anovulation, means the absence of ovulation. Under that, the general methods. The first is psychotherapy. As you know, it is a type of psychological method which helps the person to change the behavior and overcome the problems associated with infertility. Next one is the reduction of weight. The lady should reduce the weight and it should come in between 20 to 24. And the drug which is commonly used to induce the ovulation is clomiphene citrate. So clomiphene citrate is the most common drug used for inducing ovulation. And when patient selection, we need to assess whether she having a normal cycle, is there the ovulation is present in each cycle. Next, we need to assess whether the person is having any complaint of PCOD or does she have any problems like hypothalamic amenorrhea. Hypothalamic amenorrhea is a condition in which the menstruation stops for several months due to the problem involving the hypothalamus. You may not have the menstruation for a prolonged period due to the disorder in hypothalamus, and the main features that we have seen in hypothalamic amenorrhea is the chronic and ovulation. So these all things we need to assess while taking the history. So in dose, this clomiphene citrate is simple, safe and cost effective. The starting dose we are giving as 50 mg daily, and gradually the dose is increased till it reaches 250 mg daily. Usually it is administered in the follicular phase, that is 2 and 5 for 5 days. 2 and 5 days of the cycle, for 5 days we are giving, and the ovulation is supposed to occur after 5 to 7 days after the therapy. So ovulation will occur after 7 days or 1 week after this therapy, and this therapy is continued for 6 cycles. The next is the mechanism of action. So this clomiphene citrate is anti-estrogenic as well as weakly estrogenic in action. What are the side effects that the person may feel are hot flushes, nausea, vomiting, headache, sometimes visual disturbance and ovarian hypostimulation, because we are forcefully inducing this ovulation. So sometimes there will be hypostimulation of ovary. Next is the couple instruction. The doctor should inform the couple when they should do the intercourse. Coming to the adjuvant therapy, this adjuvant therapies are add-on therapy along with the usual therapy to increase the effectiveness of the treatment. So in hyperinsulinemia and insulin sensitizer, hyperinsulinemia means there is a significant increase in the insulin level in the body. So the patient with PCOD with the BMI more than 25 are often found with insulin resistant. Their body will be resistant to the insulin. So if there is a correction in this metabolic abnormality, there is a more chance of the lady to get pregnant. So the most common drug which is used for the insulin sensitization is metformin, and it is given usually in combination with the clomiphene citrate. So there is more satisfactory result we have seen when we are giving metformin along with the clomiphene citrate. Next is the elevated androgen. So it means hyperandrogenism. It is a condition which is characterized by high level of androgens in females, and the female may having the symptoms like acne, hair loss on the scalp, or increased facial hair, and definitely infrequent and absent menstruation. So in this condition we are giving the dexamethasone drug in the dose of 0.5 mg daily for 10 days, and it is started from the first day of cycle and will stop the drug as soon as after the ovulation. Next is the elevated prolactin level. If there is an increased prolactin level, it will interfere with the normal production of other hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and even there may be abnormal GnRH secretion. So it can cause change or stop of ovulation, so it can result in ovulatory dysfunction, or sometimes the lady can have irregular or missed periods. So in this case, bromocriptine is a drug that we are giving to increase the ovarian response or increase the chance of ovulation. Coming to the HCG, so HCG is usually given in the woman who having the anovulation due to the failure of LH surge, and we are giving the HCG 5000 international units 7 days after the last dose of clomiphene citrate. So before administering the HCG, we should monitor the serum estradiol level, and the follicular measurement should done using the ultrasonography. Next is the growth hormones usually given for the elderly people. And about the conjugated estrogen, because of anti-estrogenic action of clomiphene citrate, the cervix mucus become thick in nature. So it inhibits the sperm penetration. In that condition, the conjugated estrogen 1.25 mg for 10 days starting from the first day of the cycle is given. So the next drug used is gonadotropin. These gonadotropins are injectable hormones used to treat infertility. So this hormone is responsible for producing mature eggs in the ovaries. What are the prerequisites for giving gonadotropins? The ovary reserve must be present. The ovary reserve should be there. Then what are the indications? Hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism that I have already explained. When there is failure of clomiphene citrate drug, then unexplained motility, then elderly woman. In these conditions, we are usually giving the gonadotropin drug. Here we are going to see the exogenous gonadotropin releasing hormone. So this stimulates the physiologic level of pituitary gonadotropin secretion. It is usually administered in IV route or the subcutaneous using the infusion pump, and it is given in the dose of 5 micrograms in IV route every 90 minutes. And here the follicular growth is similar as in the normal menstrual cycle, but we need to monitor the follicular growth and the number of follicles, and the HCG administration, couple institution, everything is same as that in the HMG therapy. Next treatment modality is the GnRH analogs. So this is mainly given for the patient having elevating luteinizing hormone, who having the premature follicular utilization, then who having the normal gonadotropin. So it is given in the route of subcutaneous or intranasally. Next, we are seeing the luteal phase defect. So it is a condition in which the secretion of progesterone by the ovary is below normal, or the endometrium is not responding to the normal stimulation of progesterone. So the luteal phase defects are associated with both infertility and early miscarriage. So in this condition, we are giving natural progesterone as vaginal suppository 100 mg thrice daily from the day of ovulation. And if the test is positive, it is continued for 10 weeks of gestation. Next is the luteinizing unruptured follicle. So it is a syndrome which is defined as failure of ovulation, in which despite the absence of follicular rupture and the release of oocyte, the unruptured follicle undergoes luteinization under the action of luteinizing hormone. So in this condition, the HCG IM 5000 to 10,000 international units is given for ovulation induction during the follicular phase. From this slide, we are going to see the surgeries which is available. So the first one is laparoscopic ovarian drilling or laser vaporization. So multiple puncture of the cyst by laser is performed with this. If there is cyst present in the ovary, it is punctured using a laser. It reduces the systemic and intra-ovarian androgen level. If the androgen level is increased, it can be reduced, and it is usually helpful in the person who are resistant to clomiphene treatment and those who are anovulatory, and this helps for the woman to ovulate in the menstrual cycle. Next surgery is the wet recession, which is not commonly done in these days. It's usually done in PCOD cases where the clomiphene citrate fails. So the recession is made on the ovary. so it is not usually done during these days. The next surgeries are, in case of peritubal adhesion, if there is any adhesion in the tubes, salpingo-ovariolysis is made to remove the adhesions between the fallopian tubes. Then for proximal tubal block, salpingography is done. For the distal tubal block, fimbrioplasty is done. If there is a block in the fimbrial region, fimbrioplasty is done. And for the mid-tubal block, yes, for the mid-tubal block, the block is removed and the reversal tubal ligations are done. And next is the surgical removal of adrenal or ovarian tumors. If any tumors are present, it is removed through the surgery. Next are the uterovaginal surgeries. That the first one is myomectomy in case of submucous fibroid. Any fibroid is present, myomectomy is done. Next, metroplasty for the removal of septum. If the septum is present in the vagina or even in the uterus, metroplasty is done. Next, adhesiolysis in case of uterine synetia. Uterine synetia is the adhesion between the uterine walls. So in that case, adhesiolysis is done. Next, the enlargement of vaginal introitus. In case if the vaginal introitus is very narrow due to any septum, this enlargement of vaginal introitus is done through the surgery. And finally, the hysteroscopic polypectomy during for the case of endometrial polyps. If any polyps are present in the endometrium, this surgery is performed. And next is the bariatric surgery. The surgery is usually performed for the women who are obese, who are having the BMI more than 35. Bariatric surgery is performed to reduce the fat content. Next is the unexplained infertility. In case of unexplained infertility, the only treatment of choice is ART, that is assisted reproductive technology. So far we discussed regarding the treatments that we are using for males as well as in females, and I think you are clear about the treatment modalities, and in the coming sections we will deal about the ART therapy. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel to view the new videos related to BSc Nursing, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get further notifications.